Last time, a bunch of people joined right on the hour or just after.
Yeah.
Welcome to Gardening and Friends. We're glad to have you back. This is season or episode number 4. And I see that Lilia has joined us and the Hammonds are on. And Kim, glad to have you with us today. I think some more people will be tuning in here. I know that I've been getting text messages. So this is episode number 4. And last week we had a great conversation with the Luna family. They did a really fun benefits of the family garden episode last week, and they showed us some recipes, even a hummingbird recipe. That was a lot of fun. Lilia, how are you?
I'm doing good. I just lost connection right now. I'm trying to get back in there.
I can hear you. I can
Yeah.
see you.
Can you see me?
I can see you.
Oh. I'm not sure what I did because I can't see you guys. So let me figure out what I did.
Now I see the Hammonds. So we have about 4 presenters, I think, today, 4 videos that we're going to share with you throughout this hour. And we are talking about gardening in small spaces. And At our house, that is definitely the situation. And I think without much further ado, I'll go ahead and start with the video that I made. Um, my daughter is going to have a video at the end of this, and you can tell from our videos, you know, that I'm more of the builder, the create the space person for her, and she's the gardener. So I thought we'd start with how you can, a few ideas for small spaces. And then we also have O-Stop. Let's see if I can get that. Has a video for us. The Hammonds have a video for us. And so we're going to have some, see if I can get out of this. If I can get going here. Sorry, just 1 minute. Get my video. A little trouble here with the screen share. Try this again.
There you go.
Well, that's not the one I was looking for. Let's see. What do you have? What do you see?
The PowerPoint with the slides on the side and then your picture.
Okay, you see me? Okay.
Yes.
So you didn't see Pastor Ted?
No.
Okay. All right. Oh, just 1 minute here. Get this rolling. Okay, here we
Okay.
go.
Yeah.
Whoops. Hold on.
I think you just need the volume up.
Yeah, we're having a technical problem here. Okay, let me try it a different way. Sorry, guys. Always an interesting time in Zoom here.
We learn something new every week.
Yeah. I can't get you back. Let's see. I hope I don't lose you.
We can see you and we can hear you.
Okay, well, I'm trying. I can't see all of you. Let's see. Do you just see me right now?
No, it's the PowerPoint front page again with the slides on the side.
I'm gonna try something. Do you hear that?
Yeah, we can hear it. It's just a little bit distorted, but actually there's no sound now.
Okay, I'm sorry, guys. Hold on. We can fix this. We need a full-time AV person to do that.
I'm surprised we're doing this all together, that we're able to put it together somehow. We managed to.
We think we're techie, but
Yeah.
okay. I hear it, but I don't see it. Oh boy. Okay. Maybe you'll have to run yours first. It's so weird. Yeah. Okay, why don't you go ahead and run yours first, Lilia? I believe you
Okay.
have something by the Hammonds.
Yes, we sure do. And this is a video that that Lorna took as Kent was making, what did you call it, Lorna? What kind of garden was it? Oh, unmute. Let me unmute you. Hang on.
Can you hear us now?
Okay, there. A vertical garden. There you go. Yes. And Lorna made a series of different short videos, and we merged those together into one video, and some pictures that she had from her prior garden in a small space in her, was that your backyard?
Yes.
And then some very interesting apple tree that I need to get me one of those. But here's the video, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Now I have to figure out also how to share screen. Okay, Kara, you need to disable the okay, let's see. So share video. And there we go. Are you guys able to see that? Can you see it?
See it. This is
Yeah.
Kim.
Okay,
I
good.
can hear it too.
Oh, good.
That was cool.
So that was that. I thought it was.
So Kent, how did you make all of those out those little things? I think I saw you using a blowtorch.
Yes.
So
Well,
is that like a plastic barrel? Is that what you had there?
Barrel.
it is a feed barrel
It's food safe.
that is food safe. And well, we began looking for something because my backyard is a swimming pool. It's not garden friendly.
Okay.
So we needed to go up. So I did some research
Uh-huh.
and I found that these barrels, you can cut them. So we cut slots, measured all around the diameter and the circumference of the barrel, and put about, what was it, 25 different holes we end up with. No, 28,
24. Six times 4 is 24 holes.
plus the top.
Yeah.
So you got that much room for a variety of plants. And in the research, I saw that even plants like watermelons and stuff can be put down at the bottom so that the heavy stuff ends up on the ground, but the plants come out of the barrel.
Speaking of watermelon, I saw an actual watermelon growing in your yard.
That was mine last year.
Wow.
Well, she included some raised beds and small areas when she was in her apartment.
And I had wine barrels. I had cucumbers and watermelons in those too.
Huh.
Bell
You
pepper,
had success, it looks like. We
carrot.
haven't had much success around here with watermelon.
Well,
I even did potatoes, but I couldn't find that video. I even harvested potatoes out of the wine barrel.
Awesome.
And oh, she didn't show a couple other pictures that I sent her. I even had mushrooms. But
And
anyway,
zucchini. There was a zucchini one in there too.
yes. Uh-huh.
Lorna, so what all did you plant on that and that project of you guys?
Well, I went around the barrel and said what they were. I can't remember all of them, but there's like there's zucchini,
jalapenos and another kind of pepper.
Jalapenos.
and basil, and we have a cucumber,
And what was that melon?
honeydew.
Honeydews,
We have a
yes.
honeydew melon.
Wow. Wow.
And tomatoes, and we got the tree, and we got 6 all-in-one tree apples, six different apples on the tree, on the one tree, and it's called a horizontal gardening. That
The
you
way it was spread out. Yeah.
spread out.
Did you get that at Costco? I think I saw something like that at Costco.
No,
Well,
we got
there-
this out of the nursery.
there's
Oh,
actually a name for that type of a tree, espalier. An espalier tree is flat vertical.
what is it called again?
Espalier,
Exfoliator?
espalier tree.
Okay.
Found that on the internet, and the limbs are trained to grow outward, so you can attach them to a fence.
Do we have a picture of that?
Yes, we had it on the video.
Oh,
But-
sorry.
We'll walk over and show you.
I'm gonna have to watch it again later.
Well, it is over here.
Okay.
Oh, good.
We're on the move.
Yeah, we're on the move.
Yeah. It's
You see
live.
it.
We're live.
You can see as we move around the backyard that there's not much of a garden environment.
Oh, there it is.
Okay.
Has
Kind
6
of pretty.
apples. And we made a goal post, 2 on each side and 1 across, and wiring. And I don't know if you can see the wire to match the pot that we put it in. We didn't put it in the ground because it's a rocks, but we got the vines so they will grow that way, and it goes 8 to 12 feet.
Oh. Okay.
6 different kinds of apples.
I hear some bells ringing back there.
Now we have signs.
Little shines.
All right. Well, what's really been fun is having the Hammonds tune in, and they've gotten me motivated because I think that some of what we're doing here with the gardening might have gotten them a little motivated too. So we're kind of motivating each other to do
It's
this.
it's an opportunity. I haven't been a garden person. Usually my green thumb has been the result of paint.
Well,
No, I paint. Paints.
well, you've definitely put your shop talents to use, and that's pretty cool.
That's right.
Kent, I had a question about your drum. The black piping with all the holes in it, is that where you water in order to water all the plants in that drum?
No, that's a compost tube.
Oh,
Put all your food scraps and cuttings or whatever inside the top of that tube. And then the worms inside.
You didn't
Break
show
it up.
this worm video.
No, I didn't. There was a worm video, you're right, where you put the pitchfork in the ground.
how much do you think that cost you to build, Kent?
They're probably $50.
Do you still have the drum in your backyard?
The
I
picture.
got two of them. If we go over there again, I got one ready for some seeds that we haven't sprouted yet.
Well,
We
someone brought it.
we got a late start with this. But as if you can see,
This is
right
the one
here.
Yeah.
for the next planting. You put these in there to keep them apart after you torch it.
I can't really hear Lorna.
she said that we put those in there to hold the shape because we found,
You torch it.
since this one doesn't have dirt in it, when the hot 100-degree temperatures came through, the plastic got so hot that it started closing them up.
Oh, wow.
Mm.
Okay.
But
This
then
is the
this
planted
one- I don't know if
This is where you open up. Are you seeing this?
Yeah, we can see it.
And that's the hole that you put your scraps in with the worms. And
Wow.
there's a touch bucket.
So last week or a couple weeks ago, we did composting, and so you've taken the two concepts and put them together.
Yes, that's what we did. So we're
Alright.
learning from each other.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
After the rain,
Well done. Say that.
after the rain is when you find your worms. You can get your own worms.
Oh,
Watched a video how to do it, and Kim went out and he took a pitchfork right after a rain. You put it in your ground, in your grass, and you wiggle it back and forth.
and they think it's an earthquake, so they come running.
And you just start harvesting your worms. And he did that in our front yard.
what
we
do you
did-
put in the grass?
A pitchfork.
Pitchfork, and then you do what with it?
You wiggle it back and forth. Say you watered your lawn.
Yeah.
Right after that, they think it's raining. So you put your pitchfork in there and you just wiggle it back and forth, and the ground moves. And they start popping up. They want to come out. So you grab
Wow.
put it in your compost. See? Oh, there's the
Pocket that you're doing,
yes, that's it.
catching worm.
Yeah, that's the one.
That's it right there. I
After
found it.
the rain, you put a pitchfork in the ground and you just wiggle it back and forth,
Oh, I'm
and it produces worms.
How fast do they come up?
And he found one. We just have to have patience. Takes a couple minutes, they say. You need
They
to move-
also come out of the ground when it rains because not of the water, but because of the pounding vibration. I never knew that.
That's awesome.
Cool.
I learned something today. I'm gonna have
Me
to go
too.
try that.
Me
So if you
too.
water your lawn, just right after you water the lawn, put a pitchfork in your watered ground or whatever, and then wiggle it and the worms come to the surface and you can pick them up.
Amazing.
Wow. Gonna have to do that with the kids. They're gonna think that's really cool. I have to give that a try.
Yeah, we did it. And it wasn't even raining that day. We just did it to try it. So we need to get one. So,
That's cool.
yeah.
You guys got anything else? Anything else there from the Hammonds family to show us?
We have our peach tree.
Okay.
I gotta walk softly so I don't fall in the pool, though.
I don't know about you, but it's raining over here.
No, it just showered over here. This is an apple tree. This is our peach tree we planted in the tops of the barrel. We use them as planters.
Ken,
the
show us the barrel.
What's
Show us
that?
the barrel. Show us the barrel.
Over there with the
Oh, yeah.
our tomato plants. We got two. Can you see it?
Yes.
Is that the right angle?
Yes.
And then we have two over here. They're bell peppers. This is cantaloupe. Can you see this? Cantaloupe down.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
Cantaloupe. And these are our bell peppers.
Nice. And that's the cap to the barrels.
Yes.
Yes. And over here, these are little seedlings. Can you see this?
This is our greenhouse.
Can you see the seedlings coming up
Move it
Right.
down a little bit. There you go. Okay.
here?
Yes.
This is beets, the two little ones. And we had where the other one? This one didn't make it. It kind of deteriorated, but I planted lettuce and it's the wrong time of the season. But what I did is I had these drawers that you have those drawers as plastic. I had extra. I planted the seeds and put the cap on it. So it's a
A little greenhouse.
little hothouse, and it
Yeah.
greenhouse is what.
Yeah.
And so that protects them. And it's been so hot this week, trying to keep everything alive. So we had fun.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. We're
Thank
gonna have to
you.
move along because we have more things to show the people. Really appreciate you, Kent and Lorna, sharing what you've got. And congratulations, Kent and Lorna are newlyweds. Yay. So
Bravo.
they're building their life together. And we are glad to have them with us.
Happy for them.
Okay, so I think that I can show you now what I had to show you. Lily, I think you're still sharing your screen, so if you could
Let me
back
see how
to
I
me.
stop that. Okay.
Aha. Hello. All right. So as I said before, I am sort of the builder for the family. And my father was a carpenter, a master craftsman, and I sometimes think I am, but I am not. And but I try things, and so you'll see a little bit of some of the things that I built here to help Nettie have a garden. So let's see if we can get it going this time. Welcome back to Gardening with Friends. Today we are talking about gardening in small spaces, and I just wanted to tell you a little bit about the history of our house. I used to think that you had to have a big garden spot. I was raised on a farm. We had plenty of space. We had a big field that my dad tilled, and my mom planted row after row of corn and things like that. And it was in my mind that you cannot have a garden unless you have a big space in open sun. But I've learned quite differently from that. So when Nettie, my daughter, was about 10 or 12 years old, she asked me, Mama, I really want to have a garden. Where can we do that? And I was really stumped because we bought this house for the trees and for the shade. And we just love our trees, and we weren't ready to sacrifice our trees. So she just kept asking for like over a year about a garden. And as a mother, you really want to give your daughter whatever she can have that is healthy for her. And I started kind of racking my brain and trying to figure out how we are going to do this. The only sun area that we have is on a patio where we have the basketball hoop. And pretty much everything else, there's just a couple of other little spots of sun, and everything else is shade. You know, she just decided I'm gonna do a garden wherever I can find a spot, and I'm gonna show you a little bit around what we've done here. And she's gonna manage to find quite a few ways to have her little garden area. Almost everything is in pots. We do have some raised bed areas, and they are very strategically placed in whatever sunspot we can find. So I'm going to show you around. What you see here is Nettie's main garden area. And as you might notice, it's right on top of the concrete. So she has pots that are growing. But what I wanted you to see is the raised bed that we made using the blocks that you can get at Home Depot. It was super, super easy, much easier than building your own raised bed. You just buy these blocks that are about $2.50 each, and we used 8 of them here, and get boards that are, I think that's 1 by 6, but you can get whatever size that you want, and just slide them in there. And that was it. It was done in like 10 minutes. Super easy. Right here is Nettie's mango tree. It's in a pot. And we're excited because this year there's little baby mangoes growing. We'll see how long they survive. Hopefully we can get a few out of them. Down here, this is mint growing in a cement mixing tub that you can get at Home Depot. And I'm not necessarily promoting Home Depot here, but there are some tools at Home Depot that you can use, and this is just one of those $7 mixing tub things that you can mix concrete in. And she has lemongrass growing in a pot. The blueberries are growing in pots. Over here is a raised bed in a small space, about 2 by 4 feet long, and that area is in the sun later in the afternoon. And the little clever pots hanging on the side. That's a nice little trick. This one's only about 2 foot by 3 foot, and it's up on cinder blocks, and it's really nice because it's so small you can move it. We actually moved it the other day. I encourage you to think outside your box. If you are one of those people who thinks that they need to have a big garden and in open sun, like I used to think otherwise. If you see here, we have 3 different kinds of pots where she's growing things. You may not have ever thought about just using one of those plastic container, like that red tub there in the middle, one of those tubs. That works. Put some holes in the bottom and it works. Of course, we'd love to have more space. That would be awesome. But right now, we're finding places to put our pots, and I encourage you to keep looking and keep rethinking the gardening plan and how you can do it in your small space. So that's a preview of what we've got going here. Let's see, can you see me?
No.
As it turned out, we had more sun
Now what's happening?
than I thought we did. And we, Nettie has been able to make do with what we have. Okay. All right. Can you see me and hear me?
Yes.
Are we all back? Okay.
Yeah.
So I, last week when we tuned out, as everybody was saying goodbye, some people stayed on. And I discovered, and I see Sandy just joined us, that Sandy was with a group of people at somebody's house. And she was up at John and Kirsten house up in Sacramento. And I saw several familiar faces, including Pastor Nil. And I also saw, I talked with Ostap, and this is all through Zoom after the meeting. And Ostap I made a video for us. And Ostap, if I can get this to work here. Okay. Is the founder of a like a ministry that builds things, Project Restore, and they go to like different summer camps and they do things to help fix up the summer camp. He leads mission trips to other countries and stuff, so he has some building ability. Didn't know him real well before this, but he made a video for us, and I'm hoping I can get it to go here. Thought I had it queued up. Okay, can you see that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hi everyone, just a quick video here from sunny Citrus Heights near Sacramento. Wanted to share with you a little gardening activities that have been going on and some of the tips and tricks that I have been able to find in a tight space. We don't have too much open space here with the landscaping the way it was set up, but I did find a couple little spots here to plant some tomatoes. And so I got these planted here, and the key for the tomatoes is to keep them watered, but not too much water. I have something here called the Indian clay, or others will call it hardpan. And so I have a problem with drainage. I have installed a few things here to provide some extra drainage, but it's not.
Hey, Kara, the volume's off. The sound's off. Oh, there we
The
go.
leaves need to stay nice and green and nice and dark. So we use iodine and salt as a mixture. And we have a 5-gallon bucket here. I'll show that to you in a minute. And we mix that up and add it ever so often to keep the plants nice and healthy. You'll see I already got tomatoes coming in. Let's see if I can give you a better view. There's a couple of tomatoes coming in there at the bottom. And I have the drip lines set up. I don't put water directly underneath the roots. I keep them off to the side. I also have some mint here for tea. And somehow this tomato plant self-started and is growing together with the mint. So I'm just going to let it be. I don't think they'll interfere with one another. And again, the water is just a little bit off to the side. Now on this side, I've got tomatoes growing in a bucket because I didn't have any black soil here and the dirt was really bad. So I just put some soil in here. I went to John and Kirsten's house and borrowed some soil. And as you can see here, I've got some pretty big tomatoes coming in just right inside of that paint bucket. They've been in for 3 weeks since I transplanted them, and they're already putting out some tomatoes. This is the Better Boy tomatoes. So just a regular old paint bucket. You break some twigs and some branches, and about this much of the bucket here, maybe 2 inches of the bucket here, is twigs, branches, leaves. And then on top of that, we'll throw the soil, and then we'll plant the tomato. So then it has good drainage on the bottom. I did not put any holes in the bottom of the bucket. I plan to reuse the bucket for other things later on once this is done. So just a regular bucket, and provide a little bit of twigs and branches and pine needles and leaves on the bottom. And then the rest of it is soil. And I water every other day. So they're doing pretty good. The leaves are nice and strong, nice and firm and dark green. This is the other one. I did chance it with this one. I just stuck it in regular dirt. And it's not producing as much, but it does have smaller tomatoes here. This one's been transplanted about 3 weeks now. And here's the other tomato. It's coming in as well. And then I've got a couple more on this side. Remember to trim up and prune these tomatoes. The way you do that is when you have something like this happening, where you've got the main stem, then you've got a shoot here, and then you've got a shoot in the middle. These middle ones, you want to get rid of those. They just take up a lot of energy from the plant, but they don't produce any fruits or vegetables. So I just break those off. Let me show you how we do the water. So you can see it's getting kind of funky in there. What we did with this is iodine, salt, and a little bit of yeast. And then we just let it kind of sit and marinate a little bit. And then when you put that under the plant, it really takes off. It really gives the plant a lot of strength and energy to grow. And it just a simple solution, no chemicals. It's all organic. Salt, iodine, and yeast. You just really need a little bit. For a whole bucket, I'm applying maybe 3 tablespoons of yeast and maybe 5 tablespoons of salt, and then about 10 drops of iodine. And it gives these plants a lot of energy. This one is taking off as well, and it has a lot of tomatoes already on it. This is a cherry tomato plant. And so there they are on the bottom. I did the same thing here with the cucumbers. Just a bucket of dirt, and I've got the cucumbers already taking off. I believe there may be some already on here. Yeah, there they are. There's a couple right there. So this is just what I've been doing here at the house. It's kind of simple and quick. And when you're done with these, you just dump the soil out, put the bucket to another use, and that makes it simple. If you want to fluff up your dirt and make it a little bit more healthy for the plants, I'm growing some worms in this bucket. So I just went to a regular store, picked up a package of 30 worms, and so I leave them in there. They multiply, and so then I transplant them near the plants, and they aerate the soil and make it easier for the roots to penetrate. So in a nutshell, this is what's been going on. This is the cucumbers coming in. This is the tomato. And then here on the other side is the actual garden. I've got 9 tomato plants, 1 cucumber plant. Well, actually there's 2 in one bucket. And then I've got some onions and garlic and parsley on this side. This is from the spinach family. I don't know the name in English for this, but this is a sour tasting leaf. Great for salads, for soups, for juicing. Good content for vitamin C, and also good antioxidants. All right, hope this has been useful. Feel free to write and ask any questions. I'll share with you what I know about gardening. We've had this out here from year to year, on and off for bunches of years, and it's been producing. It's not a very big plot, but it makes it fun for the summer to have some fresh vegetables. Okay, everyone, take care.
So that was Ostap Dizandra, and I was gonna try and show you his picture so you could put a face to that voice. And I see if I can do that real quick. Can't seem to do anything real quick here today. I have a total new appreciation for people who make like the news shows and stuff like that.
Mhm.
It's quite a project. So let me see if I can show you that. Okay, that's Ostap. Just so you can now put a face to the voice.
Mhm.
Okay. So Ostap could not be here today. He went up to the mountain, so he made that video ahead of time for us. And it was nice of him to do that. And if anybody else who is on here or watching this would like to make a video to share, we'd be happy to share that with you. I have one more video to show you that my daughter made. And as I said, you know, we're in the same space. We're working on the same project, but she's more of the gardener and I'm more of the builder. And hers is about 11 minutes. Her video is about 11 minutes. And if you stick with us, I have something kind of neat to share with you from the Bible to close the end of this program. So let me see if I can get Nettie's thing going and enjoy.
Hey guys, Jenna here. My mom asked me to do a little video kind of. Hey guys, Jenna here. My mom asked me to do a little video kind of showing how we grow some like annual vegetables and stuff in our small spaces that we have available in our yard. So I'm gonna just kind of show you like a panoramic view of what our yard looks like. What you may notice, it's not like super tiny, like the actual space of our backyard, but the big problem is we have a bunch of big fruit trees. So the shade that they cast really limits the spaces that we can grow things that require so much sun, like all the annual vegetables pretty much. So let me show you what that looks like. So this area right here is kind of like my little fruit tree alley. I have a lot of little baby trees in pots. It's not really an ideal situation because I would rather not have them sitting in pots for a long period of time. But since they are my trees and I'm gonna want to grow them when I get my own house, right now they're just sitting in their little pots. So I've got a bunch of apple trees, got some stone fruit trees like apricots, and then here's the rest of them over here. And then I also have these blueberry bushes in pots, which has been working really well. So smaller bushes and like dwarf trees you can keep in a pot okay, but the larger ones really prefer to be in the ground. So I've had this raised bed for a while, but something new I tried this year is to grow cucumbers in pots going up this trellis. And it's actually working really well. I've been kind of scared because I thought cucumbers and like melons and stuff would need a lot bigger space in the ground. I've got lots of flowers. I know it's kind of weird lighting. Lots of flowers. There's actually a little female flower right here that I'm going to try to pollinate right now. So here's my other cucumber pot that I have. This one I actually planted 4 plants in this big container. And I actually have a little cucumber growing. So that's really exciting. I've had really bad luck with cucumbers in the past. Like I couldn't even get them to sprout. So this is really exciting. But it's kind of just trailing off everywhere. But I don't mind that. The other thing that I'm really excited about this year, up until now, I've only been able to grow tomatoes in pots, but I figured out a way to make like a little space in the ground over here that actually gets really good sun. And I planted 1, 2, 3 tomatoes in the ground, kind of like in an L shape, so I can still get to them. And they are going crazy. I don't know if you can see that well, but that one's like almost as tall as me already. This is my one tomato that I have in a pot right here. And as you can see, it's still doing really well. It's just not getting as big as quickly as the ones in the ground, which is gonna be expected. But there's a little tomato I just noticed right there. Right here, I have some Yukon Gold potatoes that I put in this really large container. This container is the same size as the one I have the 4 cucumber plants in. And they've gotten a little beaten up, but I think they're almost ready to be harvested pretty soon. And then something else I'm doing this year is I'm gonna grow some squash in containers. So I have 1 squash plant that survived. And then unfortunately, the snails really ate the rest of them. So I have some new starts in the greenhouse that I'm going to try to start over with. Something else that I've done in this container, I'm going to see if it works. I've put bamboo poles around the edges, and then I planted some pole bean seeds. So I'm hoping that the pole bean seeds will kind of grow up the little teepee and create some shade for the squash when it gets really hot during the daytime. My only issue is that the slugs like to eat those too. So wish me luck. Pray for my poor little baby plants that the slugs don't eat all of them. This little plant right here sprouted up itself in my squash container, and I'm letting it grow. You've probably all seen it in your backyards or in someone else's backyard at some point. But this is actually purslane. It's an edible wild green. And it's one of the few vegetables that are high in omega-3. So before you tear it out, maybe give it a try in your salad, or you can saute it. And it's really great because it's going to grow for you without any extra effort. It doesn't require a lot of water. So yeah, I just wanted to point that out. And then here's one of my raised beds. There's a bunch of kale here in the corner. But you can't even see it because the 2 calendula plants that I have are absolutely like overrunning this whole bed. And then I put a couple zinnias there and some beets in the corner. And then I'm going to be planting some more stuff. I've got some basil in the back that I'll show you. I forgot I also have Swiss chard hiding under here, underneath the calendula. This is the back side of my raised bed with the flowers in it. I've got this really cool lettuce leaf basil. It's kind of wilting in the heat right now because it's like 105 degrees today, but that's awesome. You might notice I plant everything really densely, and that's because I just don't have a lot of space, and you can actually plant things densely as long as you provide them enough nutrients. And here's my little mango tree that I have in a container. He and I have been through some stuff. He's been really sick at times. But it looks like he's got some baby mangoes on him this year. We'll see how many of them make it.
She's got mangoes on her mangoes.
In the shade over here for a second. It's super hot today. One more thing I wanted to mention is that I'm going to try to grow sweet potatoes this year in pots. So my mom found these for me at Target. I've been looking for tubs like these because they're huge and they're way cheaper than buying like a big pot. So I've ordered some sweet potato slips. I'm going to put maybe like 2 or 3 in each pot. And it should be plenty of space. So you can grow pretty much anything in containers as long as the container is big enough for the plant that you're trying to grow. And that's the biggest thing to remember with container gardening. You have to have a big enough container for what you're trying to grow. And if you provided enough nutrients and water, because containers dry out fast, you should be good. And don't forget to intercrop your plants. So plant like different things in with the larger stuff that will allow you to have more things planted in the same container. Thanks for joining me today, guys. I'm gonna go inside and drink some water because I am sweating so much. But I hope you have a good Sabbath, and I hope you learned something from the video.
So you have seen our yard.
Yeah, that's entertaining.
Did you know that there are male and female flowers? I mean, I knew there were male and female trees, but I didn't know there were male and female flowers.
How did she know that was a female?
You can tell because there's actually a little cucumber underneath the flower. So
Okay, so if it
the
produces, then
male,
it's a female?
I'm sorry?
If it produces, then it's a female?
Yes. And the interesting thing is that you can just see God in all of nature. But the interesting thing of this is that the male flowers come on first, and then the females come on and then they start to sense. Then the bees pollinate them, and they make babies, and it's just really quite incredible. When the more you learn about nature, the more incredible it is. So.
Now, I heard your daughter was buying potato starts or something like that.
Yeah.
Or sweet potato. Could
Yeah.
you just take a sweet potato from the store and wait till it eyes and then you throw the eyes in the dirt?
I think that she has tried that and wasn't very successful with it. She said you really have to have them, they have to really be well sprouted and have a good root system before you can just put them in the ground. Although with the potatoes, the regular potatoes, she did do that, and that's what you saw in the big pots that are already grown.
How do you know when the potatoes are done?
I think when they kind of flop over like they are, that's why she said she thinks they're almost ready. This is the first time we're making them, but with that she put potatoes in the bottom and put a little dirt over that, and then they would grow green, and then which is contrary to what my thinking is, she would take more dirt and just cover up the green. So cover up the leaves and everything. So she would cover it again, and then it would sprout up again, another maybe 6-8 inches, and then she'd put more dirt on it until that tub was totally full, and then it grew out the top. So she just kept covering up the green and filling it up until it got full.
So did you find that you had layers of potatoes when you did that, as if it's made starch?
We don't know yet. We'll be finding out here shortly. We'll have to make sure we make a video of that one.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Now that big fluffy ball thing, that flower, was that an onion flower?
It's a garlic.
A garlic.
The lady that lived here before actually had, she's the one that planted all these fruit trees, and we have garlic springing up kind of everywhere, so she must have been into garlic too. So yeah, and Nettie has been spreading the garlic around as much as she can. So they're kind of popping up everywhere. And I think they're very susical looking. I like them.
Yeah.
So to close our little program here today, I wanted to share with you something. Escape. Okay. Share with you something that I have found to be really cool, and I didn't really notice it until this week. So I wanted to share with you. Did you know that the Bible starts and ends with a garden? And we're going to go and take a look at Genesis 1, which is, of course, most of us know that is the first book of the Bible. And if anybody would somebody like to tune in and maybe read verse 1, or I'll read verse 1 and somebody want to read verse 11? So in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Lilia, can you read verse 11?
Sure. Then God said, let the earth bring forth grass, the herb that yields seed, and the fruit tree that yields fruit according to its kind, whose seed is in itself on the earth. And it was so.
I'm not sure who else we have on here. Somebody would like to read 12?
And the earth brought forth grass, and the herbs that yields seeds according to its kind, and the tree that yields fruit, whose seeds it is in itself according to its kind. And God saw that it was good.
So the evening and the morning were the third day of creation. And I just think, God, he gave us all of these wonderful fruits and trees and everything for our benefit. And then we jump to the very, very end of the Bible and we see another description of another garden. So God put Adam and Eve in the most beautiful garden. I'm sure that garden in Eden was probably absolutely magnificent, something that we possibly could not even fathom how beautiful it was. And then God is creating another garden for us. And I'm looking forward to seeing this garden. In Revelation 22, and he showed me a pure river of water of life, clear as crystal, proceeding from the throne of God and of the Lamb. And then in the middle of its street, and on either side of the river, was the tree of life, which bore 12 fruits, each tree yielding its fruit every month. The leaves of the trees were for the healing of the nations. Boy, we could use some healing of the nations right now. And there shall be no more curse, but the throne of God and the Lamb shall be in it, and his servants shall serve him. They shall see his face, and his name shall be on their foreheads. And there shall be no night there. They need no lamp nor light of the sun, for the Lord God gives them light, and they shall reign forever and ever. That it just sort of gives me tingles that not only the description is beautiful, but just thinking about how God bookended the Bible with a garden. In the first 4 verses and the last chapter of the Bible comes back to a garden. And even when you think about it, it talks here about this, there will be no more need for a sun. And in the first chapter, it talks about creating the sun. There's just so many things to think about there. And I'm appealing to you all, let's all meet at the tree of life.
Yes.
We can all meet there and experience the 12 fruits. I think that'll be amazing. And I want to be there with my friends, and I hope we're all there together. Next week, we're still kind of putting it together next week, but it looks like we will definitely have a segment on, there you are. We will definitely have a segment on succulents with Ed and Barb Home. We'll be doing probably about half of the program on the succulents. Barb has amazing succulents in her yard, and she's going to be talking about propagating. And Kim, I know you have succulents. And I ask you to join us again next week. And if you have some ideas or would like to share something, and Lilia, maybe we can see your video that didn't work out for this week.
Yes, I
And,
have, yes.
so-
Kara, just real quick, we have one of our audience has a question, and that's Tim, who we can all see here.
Okay.
And Tim, did you want to ask? You were asking about us using snail bait.
Yes, is there something that I don't know about the safety of snail bait in a garden? You guys use snail bait?
I do not use snail bait personally. I do, however, just recently started, I don't have snails, but I just recently started saving eggshells, and I've been crumbling them down and saving them because I heard, and I was, this is, gardening is newish to me. I just started gardening last year. And so I Googled things to find out how to solve issues like that. And I heard that eggshells, you crumble them and then you spread them around near the plant, and it keeps the snails completely away without using any chemicals or anything like that, if you're concerned about using chemicals around your garden. I don't know if somebody else has any snail issues.
Yeah, well, he might have mentioned that because I saw there was a snail in my video.
Yeah.
Nettie is really trying to do organic gardening, so we're very careful. She's very careful about the chemicals that were used. I keep mentioning to her, how about snail bait around the base of the pots and around the base of the raised bed. She really wants to steer clear of that. I did see Kim just make a mention on the chat that salt works also. And I heard a story once about a minister that would go and buy beer, and his parishioners saw him buying beer, and they finally approached him and, why are you buying beer? And it turns out he was buying beer to put in little tubs around his garden because the snails would crawl in and then they wouldn't be able to crawl out. So,
They get drunk.
So I'm not promoting that you go out and buy beer, but
Yeah.
there are several ways that you can handle snails. And the eggshells, I believe that's because it's very sharp. And it, that probably harms them to try and cross that. So there are several ways to try and we have a real snail problem here, and it's a challenge.
So you don't have a problem crushing them when you find them?
Oh.
Every once in a while I step on my bare feet, and that's really just I don't have a problem picking them up and throwing them over the fence.
I mean, we do play God, it seems, because we don't want snails, but we do want praying mantises and ladybugs.
Yeah, yes.
We don't want red ants, but
Oh,
we like roly-poly bugs, so it's just funny how we kind of, we don't like mosquitoes or flies for sure.
But we like the mosquito eaters. I call them the mosquito eaters, those giant.
Exactly.
Yeah.
the giant one.
Well, just like everything else, some things are good and some things aren't so good.
Yeah.
Then we probably need a whole week on gopher control. We can do that
Oh
later.
yeah, we could use some of that. If you have any gopher experts out there, let's make a session on that, because
I plant everything in gopher cages.
That's what I found out about
Everything.
barrels.
What's
I
it?
have a field behind me.
oh,
Get into the root system.
And using
Um,
barrels.
Yeah, that they're specific gopher barrier cages. And I have to plant my flowers, my vegetables, everything. It's the only thing. 32 years we've lived here. It's the only way to grow anything.
wow,
I found out about the barrels. The gophers can't get in the barrels.
that's very true.
Okay.
Very true. Yep. I know there's a couple of things. We have some issues with gophers, and Pastor Base mentioned to Jose to use these like some little pebbles. There's a little, and he just found some at Home Depot here a couple of weeks ago. So we're going to be using. It kind of just pushes them away. so you don't necessarily harm them. They just don't like the smell, so they move on.
Yeah.
Or just push them over to the neighbor's yard.
I had a gopher in my yard last summer, and it would suck the plant down into the ground and out.
Yep.
And I talked to someone, and they said put the pinwheels, and they rock the ground. So I put several in there, and that keeps them away from coming.
Oh, interesting.
Things, really things, whatever. I have one over here in my yard now, but you put that in the ground, and they don't like the shaking of the ground. They think
The little
something.
sound, the movement.
Yeah.
But we find little mountains of dirt in our front yard and our side yard. We have little piles of dirt, and we're like, and there's another one over there, another one over here. So
Suck your plant right in, because it was almost ripe, and I thought I come home to take care of it. Where'd the plant go? I finally couldn't see it. It even been there. I mean, it just sucks, and then the ground goes with it, and it covers the hole. I mean, the whole plant was. And every day it was a new plant. I said, "What?" I figured it was the gopher finally. So I had to put wire on the bottom of the thing before I planted. That was that raised bedding. So you have to put the wire all the way down, and then put your dirt on, so it won't come through the ground.
it won't go underneath.
Mm-hmm.
You see, we can have all kinds of different subjects, Kara, that have to do with gardening.
Well, it sounds like we have some people who have gopher experience, so we'll have to have you all make some videos for
Little
us.
short videos, yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to turn off the YouTube live feed, and you guys are welcome to stick around if you'd like, and for a few minutes, and we can chat. But I'm going to stop